In this SiGMA TV interview, we'll be taking a look at two of the most populous countries in Latin America and their impact in the gaming space. We'll be taking a look at Brazil and Colombia, so stay tuned to find out more. Hello and welcome back to SiGMA TV. Well, joining me now is Alessandro, co-founder of Afiliados, and Ingrid from iGaming Colombia. So great to have you both on the line today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
No, it's very welcome, and thank you both because you're both representing such crucial regions across Latin America. Ingrid, you'll be discussing Colombia today, and Alessandro on Brazil. So Ingrid, I wanted to start with you and just get a real brief overview of the Colombian gaming market so far in 2020.
Okay, so Colombia is still a very young market. It was regulated in 2016. The first country in Latin America to regulate, but the first operators started to work on 2017. And up to today, we have 17 operators working in the online operators working in the market. It was a process. The process of regulation took some time and some study, involved all the industry, and also involved changing the tax structure. So, but I could say that the regulation that was a product of this process, it's a very complete regulation. That allows casino games, virtual games, sports betting, including esports, and recently live casino. It works under a system of concessions. They are an unlimited number of concessions granted for about 5 years. And all the taxes collected from the gaming industry funds exclusively the health system, which is currently very important due to the crisis that we are going through. And this also explained why the regulator has always had a very positive and collaborative approach, because it is of the main interest of the country to get as much funds as they can for the health system. The other point the government has worked very strongly is about blocking all the offshore sites in order to protect the licenses that have been granted. So so far, around 3,500 websites have been blocked, and around $420 million were generated in 2019 as a gaming tax. Some particularities about this market: it is mainly focused on the sports book. Around 75-80% of the revenue of the operators comes from sports booking. And there were even some operators that only offer sports betting on their portfolio, which is something that had to change due to COVID. And another point that I would also stress is that there is still a lot to do and a lot to grow in this country. Currently, there are 3 million accounts of players, and this is a country of 45 million inhabitants. So there is still a lot to grow. The foundations are there, but it is still a very young market. Another particularity is that only 25% of the population has a debit card. So it is very important to have an alliances with land-based shops to provide players channels to cash in and cash out.
So now if we compare looking at Colombia and Brazil, there are so many differences when we look at cultural differences, demographic differences, but also from a regulatory standpoint. So Alessandro, I'd like to turn to you now and just ask, how does Brazil fare in 2020 when it does come to regulation?
Sure. So Brazil has a long way to go. We had the legislation passed in 2018. They had 2 years to regulate the market, and another 2 years if they wanted to extend. Apparently, since yesterday, as a breaking news, the president has signed a piece of regulation that will put sports betting in the first place as a measure to also recover from this crisis. So it's pretty much coming faster than we were expecting when all the pandemic started. We thought, okay, they will just postpone everything for 2 more years, but now apparently it's going to go really, really fast. So the Ministry of Economy has suggested that, and the president has now agreed to it. So we might see a little bit of speed in the process coming along, but there is still a long way to go. Casinos are not regulated, not even legalized, resorts or online live betting. So there is, a very much a room for improvements in that sense. So we still have to see how Brazil will react and move fast or not in that sense. But it's a start. It's getting there, which is important for the economy, important for our industry as well. So it will be very much helpful if they speed things up finally.
The wheels are in motion, it seems.
Yes, exactly. So we start to see some movement, and I hope to see more, especially with the potential that this industry can represent to the country, employment and tax and everything that comes together. It's not only about gambling; it's more about the entertainment. So maybe the entertainment industry will also go up accordingly. So we shall see how it goes.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you. And now, Ingrid, I want to turn to you. If we look back at Colombia, the role of live casinos in the Colombian market for both online operators but also land-based casinos, can you paint a picture of how live casinos look?
Yes, well, actually, the regulator tried to authorize live casinos for over 2 years, but there was some opposition from the land-based casinos because they always pointed out the risk of migration of users, of players from land-based to online, specifically to this vertical of live casino. However, with COVID, they changed their perspective, because the way that the regulation is designed allows to broadcast live casinos not only from studios, but also from land-based casinos. And now this is a great opportunity for the casinos that are still closed. They have been closed for over 70 days, and they will remain closed. And whenever they open, they won't be able to receive the same number of people that they were used to receive. So they have seen it as a way of expanding their business, expanding their portfolio, of using their casinos right now that are closed as studios. So we are just waiting for the regulator to issue the technical requirements, and then the first land-based casinos and the first software providers will start to certify in order to go live.
So that's really interesting. So almost the COVID-19 pandemic has caused like a spike of innovation in the move to live and move to online across Colombia.
Yes, not only on live casino, but as I mentioned before, many operators only offer on their platform a sportsbook. But due to this, virtual games were authorized on the end of 2019, and they just pick up. Also, esports have become very important. Even games like roulette or tennis. Well, tennis is still a sport, but so COVID has speed up many processes. For instance, a lot of people has to change from land-based channels in order to top up their accounts, and they have had to look for some online ways to do it. So I think COVID has had some positive impacts on accelerating things on the online gaming market.
Yeah, apparently the same goes, just sorry to interrupt, but the same goes to Brazil. Apparently the crisis and all its bad aspect has also a very small contribution on speeding things up here in Brazil. And let's see if they will eventually get everything sorted. But yeah, apparently that was a positive impact as well.
Okay, that sounds really good. And also, I wanted to ask you now, Alessandro, if you could paint a picture of the affiliate space in Brazil. That's more your specialty, and I think it's an area, the affiliate space is a different color in every region. So how do things look in Brazil?
Well, being an affiliate since 2007, Brazil has yet to develop this sector. So we do not have so many affiliates like we do see in Europe, for example. And I'm sure that Latin lacks of that side of the business, but the contribution is immense. So the amount of players generated by affiliates in Brazil is larger than one could actually perceive. And the contribution now has also increased with the interest of people that can probably just work from home, building a database or a website or using their social media to promote sports betting, gambling in general. So it has also a very good scenario. And Brazil has started affiliation, let's say in 2014, with the Afiliados Brazil conference, and now the São Paulo Affiliate Conference, now SiGMA also promoting affiliation here. So we should see, that market to also develop, but it's still very much young and almost untapped. So there are, a dozen of affiliates that are producing really good results. And although there are thousands of affiliates, but it's just like a dozen of affiliates that could also be counted as professional affiliates. Most of them are just amateur or doing it as a hobby or to make some extra money. Now it's becoming more like a, business rather than just an extra cash that you can make. So yes, affiliation in Brazil has a lot of room to grow. There is no saturation, as far as I can see. It's a very young market and with a lot of potential. So we can see now people like, some affiliates from Europe now joining the sector here. So also bringing their strategies, websites, and the likes of, big companies in Europe now are also looking into Brazil as a potential market for their expansion, considering, the saturation, let's call it, in Europe. Brazil, Brazil and Latin in general, it's a very good scenario now for them.
And how is you mentioned some European affiliates might potentially be looking into Brazil, and it's been considered an untapped market essentially in the affiliation space. How is European strategies on affiliation, how would they fare in Brazil? There's no real cookie cutter answer for affiliation region by region. So is there some aspects of strategies that you see in Europe that might not potentially work in Brazil?
Well, I think the secret for these kind of companies to come and succeed here is to hire local people that understands the market needs. So, from content perspective, for example, some of them are getting completely wrong, just producing websites that are not relevant, but some of them are getting there, producing websites with more graphically appealing content rather than long texts, video. Social media is very powerful. So, the ones that are already adapting to the likes of Better Collective, for example, I've heard it's coming here with a very regional approach. Although they are Europeans, they understand that they needed to adapt. And obviously, Super Afiliados being here since 2007 knows a lot about localization because we are locals. So we do have these guys coming, which is very welcoming. I like to see the industry growing and becoming like, not comparing to what we see in London or in the UK, but something similar to that would be super important, I would say. So it's an interesting time, to say the least.
Fantastic. And I've had a great summary from both of you on both regions. So just finally, just to recap, and Ingrid, I'll start with you. Challenges for the market, starting with the Colombian one. Is there any challenges that you can identify moving forward in order for the industry to grow?
Yes, definitely one big challenge that has become more evident right now is the illegal websites. Blocking, the government has realized that only blocking the website is not enough, because they can change very quickly into just changing one letter of their website. So now they are trying to work together with the financial system in order to also block the payments to illegal websites. Another challenge that is coming, or that it is yet to regulate, is poker liquidity, national and international poker liquidity. But this it is going to take some time, because this means to put in competition the local operators with big and stronger and more experienced international operators. And some of them have said they are not ready. This is not the moment to do so. And there are also still some concerns about money laundering, the high risks of money laundering on international liquidity. Another point, or another game vertical that could be explored, is the instant lotto, the online lotto games. So this is also about to happen. They have made some announcements about starting to work on a regulation. And I would say these are the points that are coming in the future for Colombia.
And Alessandro, how about Brazil? Are some of the challenges the same, or do you have different challenges in this region?
We do have different challenges, but I would say that blocking websites is a very controversial thing. So I don't see Brazil doing that, immediately, especially because of the, taboo around censorship and this kind of subject. So, but blocking websites eventually may happen, but it's very controversial. So it's kind of maybe a different approach. But they will be tackling the payment solutions first. That's something that I already spoken to some people, and they will be doing that. But blocking, as Ingrid has well said, it's not enough, because they can change the URL in 1 second. You have another URL live, and then it's a catch up game that you never win. But although we see, so much potential in the market, it's still very immature, and we will see how the market itself will also accommodate these newcomers. But we already have so many operators exploring the markets that could be contributing in terms of tax and employment here. And this is not happening just because of the lack of a legal basis for them. So there is a lot of room for improvement. There is a very good potential in the market. Those who are positioning themselves on sports betting, on casino as well. So you have the guys exploring sports betting, like 1xBet advertising on stadiums, Leo Vegas doing as well, Frank and Fred coming to Brazil with a casino vertical. Darren Jones has been already here. So we have big companies already exploring the market that could be also paying tax here and contributing to the whole society. So eventually we may see improvements there.
I would like to add one more challenge that I think all LATAM has to face, which is the financial system, the access to the financial system. It is very difficult in Colombia for operators to access to a bank account, because there is still some mistrust and some misbeliefs about this, about the industry. So I think that's a challenge for not only Colombia. The industry needs to gain the trust of the financial system.
Yeah, that's right. Here in Brazil, it's pretty much similar to that. And some operators are already tapping into mobile payments and other solutions that are not so traditional, just to overcome that barrier as well. So, yeah, it's in Brazil very similar to Colombia for sure.
They're really interesting points there. Both of you, thank you so much for some really valuable insights today. I'm sure our viewers have learned a lot. So thank you so much for your time, and I really look forward to seeing you both at our digital conference in September. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. That's all from us here. We'd love to hear how you found this interview, so share your thoughts in the comments below.